Dispensaries on every corner, gas tax to the roof, cigarettes, vapes, alcohol, all carrying heavy levies, and yet Michigan schools are broke, roads crumble, and Lansing still wants your property tax check. Michigan, you've been sold a bill of goods, and the Axe My Tax movement is here to burn that contract. Tonight we're going to expose the contradictions in Michigan's tax system, who's fighting to completely end it, and what happens if property taxes disappear in Michigan forever. I'm Brett Nibel with the Nibel Real Estate Network, and as always, my contact information is in the description below. And if you think this is just another tax rant, please think again. This is about whether you truly ever own your home or you just rent it from the government forever. Part 1, guys. Who is leading the charge on this? That's Carla Wagner. Carla Wagner, a mom, businesswoman, and now governor candidate. She didn't just start the movement to run for governor. She's running for governor because of this movement. Wagner leads the Axe My Tax initiative, and her message is simple. Property tax is legalized rent to the state. You don't own your home because if you skip just one tax bill in the government, they take your home back. She's blunt. Why should I ever pay $1,800 for a library I never use? And she kind of has a point here. Property owners and renters are already footing massive bills and are being forced to fund services that many of them never actually touch. Part 2, guys, Michigan's tax masquerade. Now let's run the numbers. This is going to be kind of fast paced here, but gasoline, Michigan collects 31 cents per gallon for excise tax, plus 6% sales tax, plus 18.4 cents for federal taxes. That's about 13 to 15% of every gallon of gas. That price of that gasoline goes straight to taxes. Now alcohol, spirits are taxed near almost $12 per gallon. Wine is at 51 cents per gallon and beer at 20 cents plus sales tax. Tobacco, $2 per pack, plus sales tax. Nearly half the shelf price of cigarettes is taxed. And what about vapes? A 32% wholesale tax now applies. And here's the new one, marijuana. Michigan slaps 10% excise plus 6% sales tax on recreational cannabis. In 2025 alone, it brought in $331 million, which is $116 million for schools, $116 million for roads, and the rest is for local governments. Billions and billions of dollars, yet all the schools claim there's insufficient funding. Part 3, guys, the contradictions. We tax weed to fund the schools, but we're still broke. We raise gas taxes for roads, yet they're still crumbling. And we raise tobacco taxes for health programs, yet we're still broke. Every election, a new bond proposal. Vote yes for the kids, again and again. And yet, it's a treadmill. A game of never enough. Part 3, guys, the marijuana myth and the homeschool hypocrisy. Remember when they told us marijuana legalization would literally fix everything? Billions in new tax revenue, they said, schools would thrive, and roads would finally be fixed. Well, here we are in 2025, and there's dispensaries literally on every corner. You can't drive through Metro Detroit without seeing 2 or 3 basically on the same block. And the revenue is massive, over $331 million last year, $116 million earmarked for schools, another $116 million for roads, and the rest divided amongst the local municipalities and the counties. Yet the schools are still broke, teachers still buy their own school supplies, roads still crumble, and Lansing is still asking you to pass bonds for millage increases and yes votes in literally every election. So let's say it plainly. If marijuana, gas, tobacco, alcohol, and sales taxes don't solve the problem, it's not a revenue issue. It's definitely a spending issue. Now here's the really controversial part. Let's talk about public schools. Even if you homeschool your kids, pay for curriculum, supplies, internet, field trips, and teach your children at your kitchen table, you're still forced to pay thousands in school property taxes. Think about that. Families who have opted out of the public system, who don't take a dime of its resources, are still taxed like they're sending 3 kids through that school district. Does that sound like fairness or extortion? Property taxes don't care if you homeschool and you don't have kids, or your kids have graduated 20 years ago. You get to pay, period. Part 4, guys, who really pays? Here's the brutal truth, guys. Property owners pay thousands annually, $4,000, $6,000, $7,000 in basically Macomb and St. Clair counties, and renters, they pay taxes too, indirectly. Landlords roll the taxes into the rent. It just makes sense. And homeschoolers, you're still paying school tax that you'll never actually use. And empty nesters, you're still funding schools that your kids left decades ago. This is taxation without alignment. Part 5, guys, Michigan's broader tax landscape. Income tax. Michigan levies a 4.25% state income tax, not the highest and not the lowest, but higher than states like Texas and Florida, which have none. Sales tax in Michigan. Michigan has a 6% state sales tax. No local add-ons, so it's fairly simple, just the 6%. So why pile property taxes on top of income and sales? Why make housing the piggy bank of every service in the state? Part 6, guys, a real family example. What a $75,000 household looks like in Macomb County. Let's make this real. A family that earns $75,000 a year, they buy a median home for $325,000 right here in Macomb County. Here's how their monthly paycheck actually flows. Let's say they have a gross pay around $6,250 a month is what they earn. Federal withholding is around $420 in taxes. Michigan income taxes another $266. Social Security and Medicare another $478. Health insurance around $500. Mortgage, which is your principal interest at 6.75%, is around $2,000. Your property tax, and here it is, an average of 40 mils, $541 a month just the property taxes. Homeowners insurance, $120. Utilities, $300. Groceries, $900. Dining out, $265, 15% of that sales tax. Other general taxable purchases, you're paying $1,200, probably $72 in just regular taxes. Internet fees, you're another $10 in taxes. Your cell phone services, internet cable providers, another $30 a month in taxes. Gasoline, as we talked earlier, is about $42 a month average on taxes. Lodging or staying at Airbnb, you're paying additional taxes as well. And just taxes only in this whole conversation is $1,900 a month. Non-tax expenses are $5,500, and the shortfall is $1,146 a month. That's really crippling for families where $75,000 a year doesn't even make it for the median home here in Macomb County. Part 7, guys, here's the case for Axe My Tax. Now that we kind of understand this, eliminating property taxes and personal property taxes is basically the movement here. Shifting funding to consumption-based models and spreading the load a little bit more fairly across the board. The goal is to lock this into the state constitution so Lansing can't reverse it. Now, part of you guys, why is there a case against this? Well, schools say they will lose stability, and cities warn that budgets could completely collapse. Services might crash before new funding actually replaces it, but the response is clear. If marijuana, gas, tobacco, and alcohol taxes didn't fix the problem, why should property owners continue to be punished year after year? Part 9, guys, the voter dilemma. Do you want to own your own home or keep renting it from Lansing forever? That's the real question here. Michigan, you've been told marijuana taxes, gas taxes, cigarette taxes would fix the problems. They didn't. And now they want more from your property. The Axe My Tax movement may not be perfect yet, but it's the first honest conversation about who pays, who doesn't, and how much longer can Michigan families hold out. I'm Brett Nibel with the Nibel Real Estate Network. Up next, watch our cheapest property taxes in Macomb County, because knowing where the numbers fall might just save your home. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.